Mend with me. Ripped collar. Hi, my name's Lauren. I teach visible mending, and today I'm going to show you how I fixed this ripped collar. Quick story time. It's my birthday, and a good friend flew in from New York to go on a trip with my husband and I. And she showed me this jacket, and I just had to try to get it done before we went on our trip. This beginning part was filmed in about 30 minutes before we left for the airport. For this project, I'm using the whole sheet of the 1/4-inch grid and some tissue paper. This is a great opportunity to show you how to make a pattern piece. I quickly clipped away as many of the frayed edges as I could, and I'm just using this piece of tissue paper to make a pattern for the collar. Once I have the tissue paper pattern cut out, I use it to cut the same piece out of the 1/4-inch stick and stitch guide. And I'm going to cut the same piece out of my patch fabric. We chose to use this white duck canvas. I wanted something that wasn't going to contrast with the thread. We're using green thread today. Once I have all my pattern pieces cut out, I'm just trimming away excess. This one was a little bit bigger than what I actually needed. And I'm going to tuck this fabric in between the 2 layers of the collar. So you can see here it's kind of completely come apart, and it's very easy to kind of shimmy my patch fabric down underneath there. Then I'm going to pin everything in place so it doesn't move. And I didn't film this part, but I took black sewing thread so it was very thin and easy to snip away, and I base stitch around all of these tears. So as it's pinned, I'm going to stitch, and that keeps everything in place, so when I put this pattern down on top, it's not going to move around and everything's going to stay the way I want it to. You want to make sure that the grids are lined up in the middle. I like to overlap one grid so I make sure that it goes all the way through. And yeah, that was finished before we went to the airport, and then I just had to stitch everything. So between the time it took us to wait for our flight in the airport, for our 2-hour flight to Mexico City, and landing, I basically finished this whole thing. I used the Persimmon Flower Sashiko pattern. Once I embroidered all the horizontal lines, I embroidered all the vertical lines, and that gave me my pattern. To finish it off, I wanted to finish the raw edge, and I decided to use the blanket stitch. And I managed to finish right before we landed. We got back to our hotel, and I washed away the stick and stitch guide, and the next morning when the garment was dry, we snipped away the black threads, and you're just going to pull them all out. I made a style choice not to finish the edges, so this garment will continue to fray, and I think it'll just look really good. Overall, I was really happy with the way this turned out. I hadn't done a collar like this in a while, and I was glad I got the chance to show you how to use the tissue pattern for difficult areas. Join me on the next.